worse. So it is
It
what it
could be.
is, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I thoroughly enjoyed the Disrupt and Dismantle.
Oh, it was a good series, wasn't
It
it?
was.
It
It
really was
really
a lot of
was.
fun to do. I really enjoyed it. It was just so crazy to travel, we
That's
were going,
yeah.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
felt
You were
badly.
all over the place too. That was a lot of space.
Yeah, and I just, I don't mind for myself, but I don't, you make everybody else go too, right? Like,
Right.
so we were always like assessing the numbers and we travel with a paramedic to check everybody's
Oh,
temperature.
really? Oh, wow.
It's crazy.
That is. So now are you for the most part at home in New York or other than your travel or
I think slowly things are changing. So we're all going to
okay,
start traveling again soon.
got it.
Not really back in the office. Everybody's kind of remote. I'm at my house, but we're sort of, we're sort of all remote. It's kind of weird. I don't know.
Okay.
But I'll travel. Who knows? I don't know.
Absolutely. Now I'm not sure. I think now saying we're supposed to start at 7, so I'm not
Well,
sure if
let's start. Or we
okay.
can just keep having our own personal conversation
Exactly.
and see if anyone else is listening. So, how has the year been? I mean, obviously, you guys have a ton to do, and a lot of that is raising funds to make sure that your students are supported. It's been a crazy year. It's been a crazy year for students generally. How's
Absolutely.
everything been?
Well, again, we're going through the peaks and valleys just like everybody else. The thing I'll say is that we really tried to respond pretty swiftly to our students' needs and really try to tell them that, we know that there's some challenges and we're going to put all the systems in place to support you as best we can. But the key is we wanted to really help keep our kids focused. And so we know that this, even though there's a pandemic, their outcomes still need to reach a certain level. Colleges are not going to then give them excuses. And so we really wanted to just be there for them both academically as well as socially, emotionally. So, we really put a lot of measurements in place to do that. The first part for us was really just transitioning our staff, to be quite honest. It was moving from an office that we've been at for about 10 years to transitioning to remote. And we ultimately decided not to reopen the office and renew our lease because we were working remotely. We thought the funds would be better served going toward our families. And again, it's just kind of a sign of the times, and we'll begin to look at trying to establish that Helen Faison a center of excellence in 2022. So we've been able to transition both staff and students, but I'll say overall, it's really probably made us, I think, kind of be at our best too, to be quite honest, because we've had to be creative in how we implement programs, how we connect with families, how we communicate with schools, and just like everybody else, how we navigate, this COVID crisis. And so, we're not medical experts, but, we've had to learn a lot about that side of things. But more importantly, just trying to find creative ways to still engage our children. So again, despite there being a pandemic, we just don't have the opportunity to kind of lay back and just kind of wait and see what happens. We had to create systems that were going to serve our kids for the long term.
Yeah, I always think it's so interesting that innovation was kind of forced upon all of us, right? I mean, we had a plan in our company. I run a production company
Right.
to shift to online editing so that we didn't have to have the editors come into the office, in the next 3 to 5 years. Well,
right.
We brought that online in about 6 months. What do you think you keep from coronavirus, right? When we're through the other side? I mean, obviously, number one is a physical space, although you'll build another. What are there things that you thought that you transitioned to digitally that you would just love to get rid of, and things that you transition to you think, wow, this was actually great and we should keep it as we move forward?
I think so. I think on the technology side, a lot of the tools that we had to implement to communicate, right? Like we've learned that we can reach more children because of the remote work. And really at Fame, that's been a growing pain over the years. We're trying to implement technology. An organization of our size, we don't get to invest all these dollars in it. But this really forced us to invest even more into it. But I think what came out of it is going, hey, we have the tools to say, we have 26 kids in Fame Academy now, but we can probably double that by offering it remotely to other kids in the area and outside the area. So even with things like our SAT prep, we've been able to offer that to kids who are in other states who could take advantage of Fame's expertise and all the programs that we offer. So for me, the technology and really continuing to think about that and invest in And it sounds a lot easier. It's a lot easier said than done. So that's the one piece. I think on the personal side and more on the kind of the humanity side is how we communicate with people. What we really learned is that we have to engage with people. So despite the technology, the one-on-one contact, the talking to families, the communicating with them, seeing them in person, eventually getting back to giving someone a hug, all of those things really mean a lot. And that's what we found, that our families felt like that's what they miss. At the core of what we do, we're compassionate folks. We're well skilled, but we connect with people. And those relationships you just can't make up online. It's just not the same. And so those are probably two of the highlights that I think came out of this for us overall. And I think the last piece I would add is that I think fundraising wise, it's changed how things are done. And so we've been able to reach out further. But again, I still think that those relationships are still critical. People who want to communicate and give the fame, they still want to communicate with you. And so we'll use the tools of technology, but we still think that those relationships are going to be an important part.
Great, great, great. How are your students doing? I mean, you talked a little bit about social emotional learning and, and not just with the pandemic, but of course, over the summer with all the social unrest and high profile court cases and verdicts that come in, there was a lot on social media over the last 14 months that's been incredibly traumatizing. And I'm a person who feels like I work in this medium in order to tell stories. And there are many days where I thought, I can't do it today. Like, it's just too much for me. And I have to step away because I'm being sucked under by some of the things that we're seeing in communities where my relatives live or my friends live. It's really hard. How do you navigate that with yourselves and your students?
I think that the first part is taking care of ourselves, and that's tough. I'll be honest. I'm one of those people who just likes to go. And I had to be told by family and friends a lot. They still telling me that, you got to slow down. You got to take care of yourself. And our team, that's been a challenge for them too. I mean, we love these young people. We treat them as our own. And so we have to try to be at our best by trying to take care of ourselves. The second piece is, it's a mixture. We have some students who are really thriving. Some of them are doing well. They're able to kind of continue with the process, take classes online and work through it, and they're okay. And then you have other students who really are struggling. This social unrest that's affected everybody. We continue to navigate these conversations. Even recently this morning, I was really struggling when I heard the news, most recently about the young lady who was shot and killed, because it's just so much. It's just every day. And so for us, again, it's a reminder that we have to continue to pour resources and create opportunities for our kids, because what we find is that when we create the opportunities for them, they then do well. They respond. Some may respond quicker than others, but they eventually do respond and can take advantage of it. What we're trying to make sure is that we can put those measures in place to really offer them all the support that they need. And that's actually caused us to really think about how we offer our services. So again, we have students across multiple states in FAME. So we have kids in Pennsylvania, in Ohio, and as far away as New Hampshire. And so again, we have to be creative in how we respond to all of those students in some meaningful way. So it's been a journey. Again, our kids are, I like to say that they're resilient, but they're also young people. The example I was giving to one of our partner schools, one of their heads of school, was saying, as an adult, as you just described, as an adult, this is tough on me. I have to think about where I drive. I have to let my wife know, hey, I'm going down this road when I'm driving to certain communities. I'm watching the television every day, seeing the impact that's happening around the country. And then you expect a 13 or 14 or 15-year-old to navigate those things on their own. And it doesn't matter how smart they are. It's just a lot for them to kind of manage. And so for us, we've really taken this, this is personal for us. This isn't about just going to work. It's really caused us to think what can we do further? And so we're implementing some new measures, like bringing in some mental health individuals to support our students, creating weekly check-ins, because we have to have an immediate response. As I always like to say, our kids don't get a do-over. Like, they don't get to redo this a year later. So we're trying to be as responsive as we can to their needs.
Talk to me a little bit about fundraising efforts and the things that you're hoping to grow and build. I know some folks in the nonprofit world, I think because business actually has done very well in a lot, the K-shaped recovery that they keep talking about, right? Some people who are doing great are doing amazingly well. And then some people who are sort of struggling are struggling even more than they were before. So talk to me about some of the programs that you want to implement and put into place, and how you are thinking about fundraising and how that's going.
Absolutely. So for us, it's an important part. It's as much as we implement programs for students and families, we have to fundraise. It's the only way we get to do what we do. And so we are looking to expand. We want to grow that. So funders and donors have been really beyond generous with us. We really are much appreciative of all the individuals who've given to us, especially like responding toward the end of last school year. We had, as it was mentioned in the video, we had one foundation who gave us funding to support each of our class of 2020 scholars. So each scholar received a $5,000 scholarship for college. That kind of response is invaluable. We didn't have that in the budget, but we knew families needed it and they responded. So our goal is to really continue to spread that out a little bit further. We want to find new funding streams across the country. We want to find funding to support our need to help our students on the mental and social emotional side, things that we didn't necessarily request in the past. We're trying to dig in deeper with supporting our students more, I would say, more intimately around the basics, right? So it's one thing to talk about STEM education, but if you don't ensure that kids have basic math and reading skills, then the STEM piece doesn't matter. They won't even get to that. So what we're looking for funding this, right now, is to grow money toward our FAME Academy, which is a program that actually is a pipeline to growing more FAME scholars. So we are saying to you, we know that you're close, but we want to help you become a FAME scholar. So we want to expand that to more students in the Pittsburgh area and potentially, eventually, outside the area too. The second thing is we want to grow our enrichment programming. All the programs that we offer about 30 different types of programs, everything from tutoring to our own college tour, to SAT prep, to some social and emotional programming, symposiums to visit companies, even virtually. So we do a wealth of programming, and our goal is to, again, expand that. So the vision is, we think that we can have a larger footprint on the impact of children in Pittsburgh, Western Pennsylvania, and sincerely across the country. So kind of leading to that, it leads to us actually wanting to establish a FAME Teachers Academy. Mm-hmm. So the Teachers Academy is a place where we can hopefully grow a pipeline of Black teachers. So it is our hope that we can end up funding students to come from schools within the Pittsburgh area, but also from HBCUs, to say, come here and work with FAME Academy students in their journey to become a FAME scholar, while giving these young people the opportunity to grow not only their teaching skills, but their leadership skills. So we want to see young Black professionals go into education, and they're not just walking hoping for a job, but that they should be viewed as educational thought leaders in those particular spaces. And so that's another area. The fourth area that we're looking to grow our internships. And we want to partner with companies who want to give young people an opportunity to put their skills to the test, to show them how it works. So we are saying, we don't believe you have to wait until you graduate from college to get that exposure. Let's invest in children early and often, and then we'll see the best of those young people. And then, as I mentioned earlier, one of our last components is trying to find a new space, right? Like, we want to establish a space of our own. This all sounds great to do all this programming, but we have to have a home base. And that's what I was saying earlier. Like, we have to have a place where we can meet people, communicate with people, engage with them, and offer them opportunities. So, for example, something as minor for most people as internet access. Well, when we're talking about children doing these things remotely and there are internet problems, then we have a space to bring them to so that we can eliminate that barrier. So those are kind of the 5 key points that we're really looking to hit and really want to find partners to help invest in.
When I was at your school, the students were so impressive. I mean, it was amazing. So take a minute and brag on some of your scholars, because obviously I wasn't there last. No one left their homes last year.
Absolutely.
So talk to me a little bit about some of your scholars. Name them. Tell me what they're doing. And I mean, some of those stories the year before last blew me away.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, they're the core of what we do. So we can't get away from loving on them. And so, for me, one of the first folks who come to mind is my guy, Eric Gary. Eric is a young man who started in Fame Academy with us. His aunt has groomed him into this wonderful young man. So Eric started in 6th grade. He was focused on football. And I remember his aunt driving to Fame Academy, because we have a policy that you can't leave early. You can't show up late. You must complete the program. You only get 2 days absence for the year. And so his aunt would drive up to Fame Academy, sit outside in her car every Saturday, wait for him to finish Fame Academy, and then drive him off to football, his game or his practice. And Miss Roz still makes that commitment to him. She always says, like, Mr. Wiley, I tell Eric that his first priority is fame. And so Eric is now a senior at the Kiski School, graduating this next month, and he is actually looking to become a math teacher. And so we've been able to actually bring Eric back and have him work as a teaching assistant in Fame Academy on Saturdays now. So really excited for him. Interested. We have a set of twins in our program who are seniors too, Sayla and Caesar. Amazing young people. Skilled in all of these different things, have all these different interests. Sayla loves to dance, and she's bright as any light that you could put on. Caesar is interested in medicine. He participates in other programs. We even just had I was talking to his mom recently, and she was just talking to us about how thankful she was for Fame. So she had actually recently made a contribution to Fame and was just saying that this could not, obviously replace all that we've done for those two, but she was really excited. And so both of them are actually headed off to Emory University next year to pursue their dreams. And so we have a wealth of other scholars. We also have our young Fame Academy students. These are young people who have committed 2.5 years of going to school for 6 weeks in the summer, as Monday through Friday. They take a full day of classes as well as Saturdays during the school year, all because they want to become a Fame scholar. And so amazing young people, they really are the light every day. They're the reason why we get up and do what we do. Absolutely love them. Absolutely love
it. I love it. It's so impressive. It's one of the reasons that I've really enjoyed keeping up with Fame and following what you're doing and being part of your projects, because you guys are the real deal. It's amazing. It's very impressive.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're excited. I think that the children really are the most valuable resource we have. I mean, we have to invest in them differently than we have. All the talk and chatter about what our children should have and should do. We have to make a way to create a better opportunity for them. And the thing that I always bank on is that we see it time and time again, that despite the backgrounds, children want to learn. Children want to do well. Children don't want to fail. They don't want to struggle. They want to do well. And so we're really excited that we can provide this opportunity. And now our goal really is to say, how do we model this? How do we scale this to end up offering this to even more children? And we know that we're just one piece of the puzzle, right? Like Fame is one piece of a larger puzzle. There are a lot of programs out there, but we think we have the capacity to actually add on and support more children. And that's really what we want to do. We want to see more of those smiling faces. We want to see more of that excitement when they get accepted to colleges. So that's what gets us going every day.
Fantastic. Well, that's amazing. And congratulations for all you've been able to do and all you're looking forward to doing, especially at a time when it's been hard.
Absolutely.
This year's been a exhausting year in every which way. So really congratulations, because I know the community really needs you. And it's sometimes, it's a lot to have, helping kids who are, taking the next big step. It's a lot of pressure and a lot of work. And so congratulations on all you're doing.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Yes.
You bet. Of course.
Absolutely. So I think they're not asking for questions in the discussion. I think they're soliciting questions in there.
Oh, should I have done that?
I'm not sure. Yeah.
I'll just tell people, listen, we're ready to answer any questions you want to ask. So
Absolutely.
Go for it. Pop them into the discussion, because that's the only thing I know how to access on this complicated little platform we got here. Be the first to comment, mine says. So go
Absolutely.
for it. Sure, I'll start the discussion. What are your questions? If I could type, my life would be much better.
I think my typing skills have improved over this past year no more.
I'm in. I know we've got a bunch of folks in the room. What's been the hardest thing this year for you?
Managing the remote. Remote sounds easy, but it actually brings about, there are just a number of different challenges that come with it that you don't anticipate. And so I think this managing the remote, and I think connected to that is, for me, it's just about the people. I miss the interactions with the individuals. And that's the big part of our day that helps to keep us going. So, and I think working remotely, you miss some things, to be quite honest. It's when you're not talking to individuals regularly, you can miss the opportunities or challenges that they may have. And so we've been trying to create these touch points to check in, but it doesn't always work. The beautiful thing is that we've been able to grow our staff since we last saw you. We actually went from, in a time when some people are downsizing, we actually added 4 new staff people to our team.
Great.
So for us, that's a big jump from 6 to 10. So
yeah,
it really is, but it's been really helpful to kind of navigate some of those challenges. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's great. And just a reminder for anybody who has a question for either of us, just go to the discussion area and type in your question. I've kind of started it off with a brilliant and thoughtful, what are your questions, to tease everybody to come in and join us in the discussion. Yeah, it's hard. My older daughters are now in college, but my boys are freshmen in high school. And like, I feel them when they're done with Zoom. I mean, I get it. Like, I can't be mad about it when they're exhausted. Like, it's hard if you're a kid. It's hard if you're a grown up to sit still hours at a time in a Zoom class. And, just, I don't know. I really I'm ready to get back down to business and be back in person. And, I don't know that I appreciated it as much as I should have.
Absolutely.
Back when we could see each other in person and do things together. And now I will totally appreciate it when our office is back to being open and we can go out to lunch again and sit indoors in a restaurant.
That's right. Those little things. That's exactly, I used to, so prior to the pandemic, I actually visited all of the schools where our children attend, and I would have lunch with them, check in with them on campus. It was a regular thing. In fact, right before everything shut down, I had just returned from a one-day trip to New Hampshire to visit our 2 scholars who are in different schools in Concord, New Hampshire. And so even though, like, those points I missed that a lot. Those are the kind of touch points that I didn't realize, honestly, that our children and our families valued so much. And so, when we get those calls to go, hey, when are you going to check in? It kind of gave me this, okay, I didn't realize that they were paying that much attention, or that it was that exciting to them. But it's been great to actually begin to get some of those students to check in with us a little more often now. So I'm looking forward to that same thing.
Yeah, me too, for sure. Back to normal. And
Absolutely.
Again, anybody who has a question, feel free to just post it in the discussion area here. I sort of started it off by asking you, what are your questions? But we're, of course, obviously happy to answer anything. We've got about 50 people in the room, so don't be shy. Feel free to ask anything at all.
And I'm sure this group isn't shy. You can ask us any questions about Fame Academy.
I have a question. I'm jumping in. Apologies.
No apologies necessary. Hi.
Hi, thank you. I just wanted to know if you could talk a little bit more about the advocacy aspect of what FAME does, not only just for the scholars, but also the other students that are at the independent schools that we partner with.
Absolutely. So absolutely, Heather. Thank you for asking that. So again, our work is not just about academics. I mean, we have to take care of the whole child. And so we do that through a series of programs. So whether it's our individual student check-ins with our scholars, whether it is, again, visits to schools. It did work out that we were able to visit Kiski not long ago and visit with our scholars. But also we have a lot of times parents who reach out who are not FAME, whose children are not FAME scholars. And they reach out to just say, hey, Mr. Wiley, what do you think about this? Hey, Mr. Wiley, can my child participate in this program? And so we have a number of kids who are not FAME scholars, who are not kind of on our numbers, so to speak, and they actually get to participate in much of the programming that we do. We meet with our students one-on-one. Every FAME scholar gets a one-on-one individual counseling session. And so we talk about academics, but also about personal goals, also about what is it, how are you feeling today? What can we help with? So we try to dig, to the very basics, but also trying to make sure that they're still on target to reach their goals in the future. Students who are not a part of FAME, again, this is our goal, is to expand our footprint into supporting more students. Heather actually always kind of messes with me about really this extension that FAME has. We have so many young people who are now, some of them are in college, who still come back to FAME and participate with us. We have a whole bunch of students who, again, Mrs. Key, our development director, was just laughing recently going, Darryl, you have more nephews and nieces and cousins because of all the young people who I've had the pleasure of working with over the years. But again, they become a part of the family. This is what we do. So that advocacy really extends beyond outdoors, beyond this website, beyond all of this technology. This is about people. And so once you're a part of family, you're a part of family. So we keep you along.
Well, I just got that was a great answer, Darryl. Thank you for sharing that. I just got another question from the audience about, someone asked, how much does it cost to fund a scholar for a year? So I think we have some people. I apologize to the both of you. Technology can be a challenge, and it seems like there is an issue happening with the discussion tab. So my phone, thankfully I have it here, is blowing up with questions for the both of you. So I don't want you to think that
we're going to make
they're
you
not
the
interested.
moderator.
It is.
And go ahead, fire away. Okay, why don't you,
so I'm going to take my face out and get more questions for you guys while you answer this question.
Sure. So what does it take to fund a FAME scholar? It's about $12,000 a year per scholar. So this year, 2021, we will fund 60 FAME scholars at the cost of about $500,000, about $500,000. That $12,000 includes a tuition scholarship to their school, as well as all of the enrichment support. So the tutoring, offsetting the SAT prep courses, when we can get back to having a college tour, the college tour, all of these different programs cost. We're actually going to be having in June, on Juneteenth, we're going to be having a community building day celebration. And so we'll actually be outside, social distancing, but it's a way for our Entrepreneurship Club to actually show off some of the items that they've been working on and hopefully begin to ingrain in our young people the importance of not only getting a college degree, but also this idea of working for self, of investing in yourself and your own community. And so we have an Entrepreneurship Club. We have a Leaders Circle. The Leaders Circle is a program where we're trying to recognize those students who go even a step above what we expect from FAME. And so we actually were able to induct in our inaugural class 3 students into that class. So these are straight A students who also have demonstrated leadership skills as well as community service in some other areas. And so that $12,000 really helps us to fund and support students in those types of endeavors. So yes, thank you for asking that question, Heather. Sounds good.
I think you must have them all because they're not loading in the discussion area. So go for it.
Thank you. Sadly, this is not how I envisioned involving myself in between the greatness of YouTube, but I'm just going to share what I have so far. I got another message that said, you mentioned a study in Pittsburgh that showed disparities in the Black communities. Are FAME's efforts well recognized in the region, and do you have support from the Pittsburgh community and decision makers?
It's a great question, a little complex too. So we're working hard to ensure that this region recognizes that FAME is one of the institutions to answer the call on behalf of our children and families. And so we have a number of individuals who really are supportive of us, and we're starting to build many of those types of relationships now. But we need more, quite honestly. This is an opportunity, and that's why we're having this program tonight. This is an opportunity for us to build those types of partnerships. What we know we do well. We help children go from A to B very well. We help children learn, improve their academics very well. And so we want to be an answer for not just the Pittsburgh community, not just Western Pennsylvania, but we think that this is a model, honestly, for across the country. And so we really want to be one of the answers to many of the challenges that our children experience academically. It's unfathomable to me that children can experience these kinds of educational challenges for so long. You know, many of our schools have been struggling for decades. And as I always say, they don't get a do-over. So our partnership with other organizations and leadership in the Pittsburgh area, I think, is critical, because we have to have some level of accountability around preparing our young people, giving them opportunities and access. And so, yes, so we do have many very, very good partners. I had described some in the video, but it's really important that we can strengthen those partnerships with a variety of companies, educational institutions, as well as government agencies to really answer the call on behalf of our children and families. I don't think it's an option. I think it has to happen.
Okay, so I have that. I didn't know if you all wanted to talk a little bit more about that. I thought it was so important what you were saying about how this program can be a model that could be replicated across the country. It
Absolutely.
is.
No, I was going to say, no, absolutely, Heather. So I think that the piece is that we want to be able to serve more children. I mean, it's some of this is really as simple as that. We know we have the capacity, and again, everyone doesn't always want to partner. We have run into some roadblocks where we've actually offered the opportunity to partner, and we've had educators actually resist because they're concerned that children may want to go to a private school instead of going to their particular school. And again, people who know me know I don't even get in the weeds of those things. This is about a child. This is about opportunity. This is about access. And so we think it's really important that we bridge strong relationships with people who have resources and can provide access for our children. Again, all children want to do well. So it is our responsibility to help create those opportunities. And that's a part of what we're trying to do now with connecting with so many companies and organizations. I know a lot of institutions have been focused on diversity, equity, and inclusion issues, over the past year and made commitments. And so we really believe that we're one of those answers to those kinds of challenges. We have a staff that I think is amazing, outstanding, skilled, passionate. They check all the boxes. And for us, it's just about partnering so that we can expand the access to more children so they can have Dr. Nelson as their as a conversation person to talk with them about the academics, or Mr. Jackson, or have an experience in FAME Academy where, again, they get to sit in a classroom with 20 other Black children who all want to succeed, who all want to go to college, and they don't have to feel like they are out of place when they ask too many questions in class. Those are the kind of partnerships that we have to create in order to create opportunities for more children. So those partnerships are really, really vital for us right now to create those opportunities for our kids.
Thank you so much. Now, I know that this event, we're running towards the end of time here, and we had over 30 questions are out there for people just asking. And what I wanted to say is that we have a copy of all of those questions. And what we're going to do outside of this event is reach out to each of you. We do have your contact information, and we'll engage and just try and answer them to the best of our ability. And I personally will ask Mr. Wiley to get involved with those conversations as well, because he is an expert on just being able to talk about the impact that the program is making with the children in the community. So I want to thank Soledad. Thank you so much for sharing.
It was my pleasure. Thank you for having me. Always nice to check in with you guys and see you. And I'm so glad to hear that as much as this year has been crazy, that you are coming out the other side of it, thank God, and that the families are doing well and the students are doing well and the programs are continuing on. So congrats.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Soledad. Really appreciate your support of FAME. Again, that's the type of support that I'm trying to, that I was describing earlier. And I guess before we close out, I want to thank Chad Wallace, who is a FAME alum, who helped his company actually donated this platform to us. And that support means a lot, to have FAME alum provide resources such as this. And just in general, as I like to say, I'm just a young man. I'm just a little boy who came from Newark, New Jersey, went to public schools, didn't have those experiences academically where I can go and tell these amazing stories about this special teacher. FAME is trying to create those opportunities. This is what we do every day. Every child deserves to have the best opportunity to succeed. And so we're just asking people to please consider partnering with us to invest in those areas that I talked about earlier so we can help more Black children succeed. But thank you all for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
How do we transition from here, Heather?
I think it's actually just exiting the booth that's set up on a timer right now. So I feel free to exit.
Okay.
Thank you, Darryl.
Thanks.